Hi, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I am doing a Degrassi series on my beauty Instagram at Cash Beauty. I will link below if you want to check it out. So the series is I'm recreating makeup looks / looks inspired by my favorite female Degrassi characters. Today we're starting with the one, the only Paige Michalchuk, and this video is basically showing what I did, makeup, the products, the step-by-step, and commentary about Degrassi. I have about 12 other videos to make. If you like them, I will continue to make Degrassi commentary content where I will basically rant about stuff that I liked, what I didn't like, stuff that I wish had happened, what didn't happen about Degrassi Next Generation and Degrassi Next Class. Well, let's get started. So, Paige Michalchuk. I am using the Michalchuk Grip Primer. Anyway, Paige Michalchuk, the HBIC of Degrassi. We first meet her, she's a little bit of a B. She's a little bit of a bitch. Okay. I'm not looking for monetization. I'm just expressing my feelings. So, she's a little bit of a B. But in the best expressed way, the best written way. Okay, because we see her grow from that. Smashbox Studio Stem, and Paige. Okay, so of course Paige starts off as like a princess, a HBIC, a bitchy, almost, it's not even almost, she is the mean girl character. You do not want to root for her, but you can't help but root for her. You can't help but root for her. And that's the thing. That's why Paige was written so well. So Paige. So when you first meet her, you're just like, okay, well, that's the stereotypical mean girl. Most likely will not like her. And as the show progresses during her, how many seasons did she have? 6 or 7? Believe it was 7. So she was on this show for 7 seasons, and her character grows from just being a stereotypical mean girl. She becomes loved, and she becomes loved in a literal favorite of everyone. And partial to that reason will be for the next character I'm going to talk about, Alex Nunez. When she discovers that she's, you know, bisexual, or she's sexually fluid, or, because I wouldn't actually say that she was a full-blown lesbian, because later on we actually see that she is, she likes Griffin, so she's not lesbian like Alex ended up discovering about herself. She is bisexual or sexually fluid, because we never really get a confirmation from the show writers, but we assume she's bisexual. So Paige, so she grew from just being the stereotypical mean girl from help of characters like Alex Nunez and characters like JT York, R.I.P. We'll get to his character. We'll get to his character. So, and overall, just like, she was written well, especially since she experienced traumas in the show. By the way, if you've never seen Degrassi, I don't know where you were living in early 2000, like 2003 to 2015. I don't know where you were living. I have no idea where you were living. But for some odd reason, you missed Degrassi to Next Generation. And then you didn't watch it on Netflix for Next Class. I suggest you do that. So, I don't know where you were living, but I need you to pick that up. They have free episodes here on YouTube. So, anyway. So Paige, so she experienced trauma. Again, if you've never seen the show, everyone experienced some sort of trauma because it is a teenage drama. Not even dramedy, because they do have certain points of lines that are funny, but it's a drama. It is a drama. No ifs, ands, buts around it. It's a drama, and it's so good. So, this is the Naked Skin Urban Decay Concealer in medium neutral to hide my dark circles. Anyway, so Paige, she experienced traumas. One of her first traumas that we ever see her go through was her being sexually assaulted. Now, that presented her with a vulnerability. That's how we ended up starting to like her. She becomes vulnerable. She becomes vulnerable to the audience, and we see the human side of her. We see her cry and throw fits and not want to be touched, and everything that you expect from a sexual assault victim in some cases, because not every sexual assault victim goes through the same thing. But so we see that, and we see her broken down, and from that point on, which is actually, now that I think about it, it's fucked up. But then again, this is a drama, so you gotta have drama, but it's messed up that your characters gotta go through trauma to become better people. That's messed up. Now that I think about it, that's messed up. But it's written so well. That it's written so well. So, like, why couldn't they just go through the motions of life without having to go through the traumas of life to become better people? You know what I mean? But it is what it is. That's just how some people, they become better people. Some people, they were already, you know, the goody two-shoes of the show. They really didn't have that many problems, and then they develop problems. But it is what it is. But yeah, so Paige, she gets broken down, and now you don't really know where her character stands. And like, she can become worse, or she can just become better. And they've written her character into a better person. So she reconnected with her friends. She reevaluated her friendships with her friends. She wasn't just there to pick on them. She wasn't just there to bring them down. She used her experience to help her friends get through their troubles and their traumas that they end up going through. Like, take Ashley Kerwin. Okay, Ashley Kerwin ended up changing her whole personality after the first, after season 1. So season 1, Ashley Kerwin, the ending, she ends up like the season finale or so. So she, at a party, a house party that she didn't really want, that ended up happening, and she ended up taking ecstasy and falling out, saying stuff that she wouldn't really say to her friends in person, and not really being herself, making out with Sean Cameron when her boyfriend is Jimmy, and you know, all this stuff, okay? And the next season, she lost all her friends. She lost all her friends because she said some fucked up shit. And I apologize for cussing. I will do better. I will do better. But she ended up saying some messed up stuff. And this is medium, light, and warm. And so she ends up changing her character. Her personality changes after that moment. She goes through like depression, and then personality switches. She becomes goth, and you know, on top of that, she watches her ex-boyfriend get shot in the back, and then of course, the shooter ends up being her little stepbrother's friend, and so she has to watch that, and then she has to watch her little brother go through like eating disorder and stuff like so she just went through the emotions, and she was not crazy, but she was like depressed. She was seriously depressed. And Paige ended up taking her out one day. It was like, you need to feel better. Pretty much, she was like, you need to feel better and stop this sadness. Also, her best friend Terry, who was dating the school shooter, was in a coma. Was in a coma because the guy Rick, the shooter that shot Jimmy, you know, that was best friends with Toby and all that, he was abusive. He was abusive. He was abusive. And, you know, he put Terry in a damn coma. So she was sad about that. And everybody was like, and you know what, Ashley, you have a pretty good life here. You're not the one in the coma. You're not the one that got shot. Okay? You're not the one that got sexually assaulted. So we're going to show you how good your life is. Okay? We're going to show you that. And Paige is the one that did that. Of course, Ashley being Ashley, that's why she's not on this list of favorite female characters. She didn't appreciate she didn't appreciate any of her efforts. Now, that's just one instance. That's just one instance of Paige being a decent person, of changing into a better person. But at the same time, she did have her moments that she was still, you know, a spoiled little princess. But, you know, people don't change overnight. Okay? That was still part of her personality. You know? This is Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. Pro Filter powder that I'm stamping underneath. If I can get it out. I'm setting my under eye with, okay. So, top of that. So, Paige, she had a catchphrase as well. She called everybody hun. She was there when Emma got her first period. It was like, you know what? Of course, she was still mean about it. She was like, you know, you're not supposed to wear white. Hun, you know, hun, you're not supposed to wear white when you get your monthly visitor. She was like, it's my first time. She's like, well, being a girl is hard. Here's a pet. And, of course, you're just like, what's it? Okay, drawer. She's like, what's the big deal about that? And it's like, well, when you see, when you actually watch the show, you're just like, ah, Paige. Look at you. Being nice. I'm going to set my face with the ColourPop No Filter Sheer Pressed Powder. And I'm sorry, I can't do my makeup and talk at the same time a lot of the time. Anyway. So, it's stuff like, it's little things in the beginning. And then we get to characters like Alex. So, of course, Alex and Paige did not like each other at first. And Alex didn't like Paige because Paige was the stuck-up rich girl, goody two-shoes. Alex was from the other side of the tracks. She didn't grow up with a whole bunch of money. Her mom worked constantly. She had a deadbeat boyfriend. And stuff like that. And so when she meets Paige, she runs into Paige, she's like, because of course Paige needs a job to get into her #1 college and stuff like that. So of course, one place she ends up getting a job at, Alex works at the place. So she's just like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. I have to get along with her if I want to get this job so I can get into banting and stuff like that. I would use my NYX California Beaming bronzer, but it's broken, like severely broken. And I just have not fixed it. So, as much as I love that bronzer, we're using the Wet n Wild Contour palette in Caramel Toffee for a little bit of a little bit of dimension to the face. Because unlike me, Lauren Collins has cheekbones. So anyway. So she starts working with Alex, right? And Alex shows her, like, you don't need to have a jerk boyfriend that's rude to you. What's the, you know, big deal in not being nice to people? Because being nice to people will get you a little bit further with people. A little bit nice. Being nice to people will get you a little bit further, you know? And so, of course, once they got to know each other, they develop a friendship. And on top of that, not only does Alex help Paige, Paige helps Alex realize that there's more than life than just the movie theater. Okay? You too can get into college and better yourself and want more for yourself. And you don't have to be your mom working in a factory, having a dead-end boyfriend and stuff like that. So once we get into Alex's video, we'll talk more about that. And so, which I believe was a good thing, that they both needed that. They both needed that friendship into developing themselves. And so later on, we get into college years of Paige, which I have beef with the Degrassi writers. Okay, Degrassi Next Generation was broken down into like 3 different sets of casts. So you have your original cast members, which I will call cast 1, and then you have cast 2, which will be Holly J, Sav, Claire, Allie, all those people. Okay, you have cast 2, which will also kind of include Jane, but at the same time they're like Jane, Danny, those people, they're kind of a mix between cast 1 and cast 2 because they were like right in the middle. They were like right in the middle. But Spinner, he like all of their connection was really Spinner. Because Spinner was on there for 9 seasons, so he blended in with cast 1 and cast 2. Anyway, I'm rambling. So you have cast 1, cast 2, and then you have the final cast, cast 3, which will be Maya, Zig, all of those people, Miles, Tristan. Those are people for cast 3 that end up being the cast for next class. So anyway, so cast 1, now what was I saying? So cast 1, oh, my beef with Degrassi writers and how they're gonna do post high school. So the Degrassi writers, beef with you. So you have the cast one, you follow certain cast one members, Ellie, Paige, Marco, and you keep Spanner in for 9 seasons post high school, and you follow Ellie, Paige, and Marco into college, and and of course Emma, Manny, and Liberty into college briefly, but not as much as you did for the other 3 I just named. I have a beef because you follow these characters into college. I just like to say cast 2 and cast 3 had better stories to tell. That's just it. Cast 2 and cast 3 had better stories to tell post high school. Like, yeah, it was nice for Ellie and friends to be seen post high school, but their post high school was kind of boring. It was boring. Same thing for Emma, Manny, and Liberty, even though Liberty Van Zant is my favorite character. Once we get to her episode, oh, it's gonna be over. But still, Holly J and Yale, that was ugly. Will she or won't she get back with Declan? Okay, Claire in New York. Will she go to New York? Will she stay with Eli? She's taking a gap year, so she's going to be here in Toronto with Drew. Are they going to reconnect with their friendship? Okay, you got Allie that fucking goes to Cambridge in the UK. Okay, so now she's developing another long distance relationship, this time with Mike Dallas. And so, will they stick together? We don't know. Okay? Anya joined the army. And we never hear from her again. We never hear from her again. Especially if you're going to keep Owen on the starting lineup for 2 seasons. He briefly mentions Anya, but there was a story there. There was a story there, Degrassi writers, that you dropped the ball on. Anya and Owen had a story there that you dropped the ball on. And it blows my mind. Stuff that you could have kept post high school. Again, cast 2 and cast 3 had such better storylines than the first cast post high school. And I will die on that hill. So anyway, back to Paige in college. So Paige gets into her dream school, Banting. It's the Harvard of Canada. Okay? And she flunks out and burns down her dorm room because she realizes college is hard. And it's not a walk in the park and a breeze like, for some people, it's not this walk in the park and breeze like it was in high school. It's just not. And I'm not saying that Paige peaked in high school, because she didn't, but she had high expectations for herself that she could not keep up, which she ended up developing anxiety issues for. And, you know, and she, poor Paige. Can't even get the words out. So, large blush. This is orgasm. And she develops anxiety issues because she tries to meet a certain standard that she just can't get to, and which fucks her up. Again, another F-bomb. I'm sorry. And which messes her up. She's like, because she's used to being perfect. And she knows she's, well, perfect academically. And she knows, and now she's realizing it's not the same anymore. So it messes with her. And that's what a lot of people end up going through in high school is, well, not high school, well post high school. And that's how a lot of people end up developing depressions and stuff like that, which I will say the Degrassi writers, they did a good job in expressing, because not everybody transitions into college that well. We see it with a lot, we see it with Paige and we see it with Emma, but we're not going to talk about Emma because I don't like Emma. Anyway, we see it, so not everybody transitions that well. And Paige, she just didn't transition that well. After being damn near perfect in her academic life at Degrassi, she's running into challenges and she's just like, I can't handle it. She can't handle it. And it's something to talk about. So, Artist Couture, Jackiana collab in La Beach. So, little subtle highlight, because early 2000s, they didn't know much about glow. So just put it right here. Concentrate it right there. So anyway, Paige. She doesn't transition into high school that well. She's flunking, she's unmotivated, and she's isolated from her friends. She's no longer with the same people that she grew up with. She's in a whole new ball game. And she's just like, she's far away from friends and family. She's far away from everything she knew. She's in a new town. And she's just like, wow, this is not for me. So she takes a gap year. And in this gap year, she meets Paige again. She discovers what motivates her again. Which I fully love, because some people, again, they can transition into college so well, and then you have other people that just don't. So we're going to use the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. It's a lot of neutrals, which this cast used a lot. Neutrals were their game in looks. So Paige, we talked about her friendship with Alex / relationship. Let's talk about her friendship with JT. Now, in the Degrassi mini series, was just like mini short clips of what is in off camera scenes and stuff like that. We see Paige visit JT's memorial on like the anniversary of his death or something like that. I personally wish that we saw that on camera. So yeah, we know she was struggling in college at Banting. We get that, but we also have to see her. So personally, I believe that was part of the reason why she struggled so much in college, because she also ended up losing a really good friend to her, tragically, in her first year of college. Like, yeah, they weren't best friends, but like they were good friends. And the fact that we never saw that in the actual show was disappointing. But yeah, so anyway, back to what I was saying. We saw her in the Degrassi minis. We saw her go to JT's memorial, and she's like, I wish I could have been here, because he was such a good friend and stuff like that. So her friendship with JT, which also helped soften her during high school, she ended up going out with him because of the dare. But later she realized, I actually had fun with him. He was really nice and he was funny. He made me laugh. And it became more than just a dare and for money to get her hair done and stuff like that. It went beyond that. So unfortunately, she ended up apologizing to him for that. And they ended up having a genuine friendship, which helped soften her, because she ended up giving him advice on stuff, especially with Liberty and Manny, and he was dating both of them. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put glue on this lash. So that's a thing. So again, Paige, she grew from just being a mean girl, which I really appreciate in the show. And which all of these characters that I mentioned in the series for my Instagram, they all had a part in low-key developing me, helping me develop myself. I watched Degrassi, of course, when it aired, but once it went off, I watched reruns of Degrassi every summer. It is my personal summer binge that I go through every year, every summer, since I was a sophomore in high school. I am now a junior in college. So you know how much I really watch Degrassi, how much I love these characters. I need more glue. So I just finished the series. I just finished maybe a couple weeks ago this the series, including Degrassi Next Class, and maybe a couple weeks ago, and each time I watch it, I find a new appreciation for it. I find new things to think about. I see new ways these characters that are so beloved to me are filmed and shot and written. And again, it's a newfound appreciation each time I watch it. I love it. I love it. So again, Paige, she was more than just your stereotypical mean girl. She was funny and warm and heartwarming and heartfelt, especially once they let her character grow from just being a mean girl, which I fully enjoyed. Now, again, I had beef about the college days. The college years, I have beef. But we're gonna get into that later. Once we get, but we're gonna get into that later once we get into the other characters I fully believe should have been included into a post-high school thing. So, but after I throw on this lash, I'm gonna get dressed, do my hair, and you will get the final look of Paige. Sorry, hun. So this concludes the end of my video about Paige, and I would just like to say, my glasses fell, but I would just like to say that I love Degrassi, and I know this is my very first video. The next ones in the series will be better. I'll actually have a script, points to talk about, but I would just like to say that Paige, The reason why Paige is one of my favorite characters of this show is because she was more than just your stereotypical mean girl. She had a lot to offer, and I love the way that she was written and how her story was told. And they actually showed that she had more to offer than just to be the mean girl. And well, that's the end of my video. If you watched, thank you for watching. And bye.